The Impala has been many things to GM over the years. In the 70s, it was a utility vehicle. Even though the energy crisis was looming, Impala got bigger. 1975 marked its weakest sales. Bigger was definitely the wrong call. The scaled-down version of the 80s made fleet sales jump. It was especially strong as a law enforcement vehicle and a taxi. Talk about losing its cool factor.
There's still a big list of small parts that have to go on the 64 Impala. And given our track record so far, what are the odds that it'll all fit? Well, this part of it rides nice.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. Good to see you, Dan.
What are we doing?
We had a list of some things we wanted to accomplish on the car today.
Ah, yes, the list. There's always a list. A list is a good thing if it keeps you on track. It can also drive you nuts if it keeps getting longer.
This is not the right sway bar. It's a little short.
The aftermarket sway bar wouldn't fit. It was a little too big and it was going to hit the power steering gearbox. We tried using the 65 sway bar, and it was located in a different spot in that frame and wouldn't work. What we're going to end up doing is going with the stock sway bar, which is a smaller sway bar, but it should bolt right on.
Okay, while the size and fit of the sway bar becomes the task for the high-minded, I get the call for taillight duty. Pots and lenses. Actually, I don't mind. This kind of nostalgia really works for me. Today, everything is so geared to functionality. Remember when nailing the year of a car was all about the taillights? Every change, bold or subtle, the taillights were guaranteed to change too. They said it all. Finding that little year stamp in the lens was like a carbon dating test. Some memories just speak for themselves.
In this particular case, the seats are not available aftermarket. They're only available used, and then you have to take and strip them and sandblast the frames, repair any damaged springs, and then have them recovered. Turns out that when we went to fit the seats in, this car originally had buckets, so it should just be drop it right on the mounts and we're good to go. Well, turns out the seats that we got didn't drop on. We don't know what they're from, but we know they're not from a 64.
And I wanted to just quit today. I felt like we were spinning our wheels today. We were like lacking the necessary hardware and a bunch of just like little components to make everything really flow. And it got really frustrating because the cars that we received, and not that it's Classic Industries' fault, they weren't complete. There wasn't enough hardware from those cars, so we almost have to go buy a third car now just to get some of the hardware and things that we need.
The hope here? Frustration solved within a box.
We got the new power window regulators, and those were installed and they work, so that was a plus.
Then the power kicks in. When was the last time you saw someone this fascinated with a no-draft vent? Trust me, it brought applause.
We had some challenges with the window parts today because we did not have all the hardware. Some we might not have kept, some we might have thrown away, some may not have been there. I know with these particular doors, the window tracks were missing, so we're having to hunt down the window tracks for the doors in order to complete the power window kit install.
Tight spaces when time is tight? You have to keep your patience, especially when you're working more with feel than sight.
I think the biggest thing is to recognize that there's more than just Tuesdays when we film to build the car. So I think tomorrow we'll regroup, see what we need, and try to pull in the necessary hardware. We'll look for some complete doors to buy so we have that hardware. So I think we'll just try to regroup tomorrow and make some lists and go out and get some parts.
As far as assembling the dash, we were able to put on the machine-turned faceplate and all the dash knobs, all the accessory knobs, the wiper knobs, the headlight knobs, the ignition switch, and test fit the ashtray in, which all went together really nice.